I'm broke. What should I do? So you're broke. Not just financially, emotionally, spiritually, empty of direction, low on energy, disconnected from your purpose. You look around and it feels like everyone's running a marathon, while you can barely get out of bed. And the question whispers in the dark, what do I do now? But what if I told you being broke might be the biggest blessing of your life? What if I told you rock bottom isn't the end? It's the solid ground you rise from, with more courage, more clarity, and more intention than you've ever known. Yes, the world taught you your worth is tied to your bank account. But I'm here to show you your true value begins the moment you realize it's not you that's broken, it's the patterns you've been taught. And you now have the power to rewrite them. This video isn't for someone who just wants cheap motivation. It's for the one who's ready to rebuild from zero, with authenticity, with purpose, and with a fire that can't be faked. I'm going to walk you through 7 timeless principles, rooted in decades of wisdom, personal growth, and hard-earned lessons. But first, you need to decide, will you keep complaining, or will you rise and act? Write down and face your deepest fears. There is a tragedy more common than poverty and more devastating than failure: living decades climbing the wrong ladder. Many people do just that. They chase false ideals, empty achievements, and expectations set by others. They avoid the mirror, dodge discomfort, and pretend fear doesn't exist until it's too late. But fear, my friend, doesn't vanish with time, it grows in silence. The first step to reclaiming your identity and walking your mission of life isn't reading another book or watching another motivational reel. It's sitting down with a pen and writing down your fears. All of them. The big ones, the hidden ones, even the ones you're ashamed to admit. Fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of speaking up, fear of not being enough. Name them, because the only thing worse than being afraid is pretending you're not. I remember my first public speech. I was shaking so hard my voice cracked after every sentence. But each time I stood up again, clarity replaced confusion. That's the secret. Fear doesn't leave when you understand it. It fades when you confront it. So go ahead, write your list of fears today. And if it scares you to even start, good. That's the proof you're exactly where you need to be. Because only when we face the mountain can we realize it was never as tall as it seemed. Now, what if I told you that your fear might only be a symptom of something deeper, the stage of life you're currently in, and possibly refusing to accept? Let's go there. Understand what season of life you're in. You see, life isn't linear. It's seasonal. And if you keep judging your winter by someone else's summer, you'll feel like you're failing when, in truth, you're just being called to rest. Self-awareness begins when we stop asking, what should I be doing? And instead ask, where am I right now? Because each season of life requires a different kind of action, or no action at all. Maybe you're in your preseason, still learning, building, falling down, and fumbling through. Or perhaps you're in the season itself, grinding, growing, taking hits, showing up. Some are in their playoffs, trying to refine their craft and squeeze every drop of potential out of their gifts. Others are in post-season, quietly processing, releasing, healing. None of these are wrong. All of them are sacred. Think of an athlete. They don't train the same way all year. Why should you? Misalignment happens when you try to force energy that doesn't match your phase. Ask yourself today, what needs to end so something new can begin? Write it down. Is it a relationship? A habit? An old pattern? Recognizing your season gives you clarity. And clarity, my friend, is the beginning of purpose. But even once you've understood your season, what's the point of awareness without service? What good is clarity if it's still all about you? Let's go deeper. Shift from me to we. Live with purpose. You weren't born just to survive. You were born to serve. And there comes a moment, usually when motivation fades, when you realize the fire that burns longest isn't lit for yourself. It's for something greater, something beyond the mirror. When you act only for you, you'll need to constantly be refueled. But when you act for us, you tap into something inexhaustible. Meaning, I've met wealthy men who still felt poor, athletes with trophies who still felt empty. Why? Because success without service is a clever disguise for insecurity. The key isn't to hustle more, it's to matter more. Ask yourself, who suffers if I keep playing small? Write down 3 names. Maybe it's your mother, maybe your team, maybe it's your future child. Your purpose is found in who you impact, not what you achieve. If your life feels stalled, it's not because you need more motivation. It's because you lack mission. And discipline, that only sticks when it's connected to something worth sacrificing for. So today, stop asking, what do I want from the world? And ask instead, what does the world need from me? Because once your identity aligns with service, you'll find the courage to do what once felt impossible. Still, there's a catch. No matter how noble your mission, if you're carrying unresolved wounds, you'll sabotage your progress before it begins. Let's talk about that. Stop chasing success, start healing. You can achieve every goal on your vision board and still cry yourself to sleep. Trust me, success built on top of wounds will eventually collapse, no matter how shiny it looks on the outside. When you create from pain, what you build becomes a reflection of that pain. But when you create from healing, you build from a place of peace, authenticity, and true value. Too many chase applause when what they need is a therapist. They seek validation when their heart is asking for self-acceptance. Healing isn't a detour, it's the path. Take 20 minutes today. Journal about one moment from your past that still stings. Or book that therapy session you've been avoiding. You don't need to be fixed. You need to be heard, seen, and given permission to feel again. I once thought my ability to keep it all together was strength. It wasn't. It was a mask. When I finally allowed myself to break, I discovered my power wasn't in hiding my cracks. It was in shining through them. That's when clarity came. That's when discipline started to feel like devotion, not punishment. But healing isn't passive, it requires action. And it requires one more thing, a willingness to stop repeating what's been holding you back. Which brings us to the next layer. It's time to confront the old tapes you've been playing in your mind, the patterns you keep replaying like a broken record. Reflect on your patterns and rewrite your life. Here's a truth most people ignore. Your life isn't stuck. Your patterns are. And unless you pause to question them, you'll keep replaying the same storyline, just with different faces and new excuses. Ever notice how you keep dating the same kind of person? Or ending up in jobs that drain your soul? That's not coincidence. That's subconscious loyalty to an outdated identity. The moment you say, I'm tired of this, you begin the process of transformation. So ask yourself now, what pattern am I sick of repeating? Is it self-sabotage in relationships? Is it procrastination masked as perfectionism? Or staying small because fear tells you you're not ready? The pattern isn't the problem. Your belief about yourself is. And beliefs can be rewritten. A client once told me, I always mess things up when they start going well. I asked her, who told you love had to hurt to be real? That's where we started. That's where she began to heal. If you want to break your pattern, don't just try a new behavior. Heal the emotion that created it. Then act. Change your language. Speak different truths. Your story doesn't end with pain. It begins again with a pen in your hand. And the best part? You don't need to have everything figured out before you begin. The next chapter always starts with one small, uncertain step. Start before you feel ready. If you're waiting for the stars to align, you'll die under a sky full of maybe tomorrows. The clarity you crave doesn't show up before the leap. It shows up midair. Most people don't act because they believe the lie that they need to feel ready. But here's the secret. Readiness is a result of action, not a prerequisite. You grow by moving, not meditating in fear. Lewis Howes, for instance, once froze in front of a crowd, drenched in sweat, stumbling through his words. Today he earns 6 figures for a single talk. How? He didn't wait to become fearless. He moved with fear. He joined Toastmasters, got a coach, and showed up week after week, messy and unprepared. That's not luck. That's discipline fueled by courage, not confidence. Whatever you're putting off, starting a business, recording your first video, launching your blog, it's not that you're not good enough. You're just waiting for permission. Stop. Give it to yourself. Write the post. Hit publish. Speak, even if your voice shakes. Because the only thing more painful than failing is wondering what could have happened if you just tried. And if you still feel frozen, still caught in the opinions of others, then let's ask a question that changes everything. Will any of this matter 30 years from now? The mirror test. Will this matter in 30 years? You'll forget their names. The critics, the doubters, the ones who laughed, judged, ignored. But you'll never forget the dreams you buried because of them. That's the tragedy. One day, you'll stand in front of the mirror, not the bathroom kind, but the one that reflects your identity, your mission, your soul. and you'll ask, did I live this life for me or for their approval? I remember being picked last in school, not just once, but often enough that I started picking myself last in life. That's what insecurity does. It becomes your default lens. But what shifted everything wasn't revenge or trying to prove them wrong. It was proving my higher self right. The version of me that knew I was born for service, for purpose, for more than applause. So here's your test. Would you still do it? Create, speak, build, serve, if no one clapped? If no one watched? Because that's the work that outlives you. That's what brings meaning, not attention. Today, align your goals not with popularity, but with peace. Because decades from now, when you look back, the only opinion that'll matter is the one staring back at you in silence. Now that your heart's awake, let's take this fire and turn it into action. Because what's the point of wisdom if it's not lived? Now that you've seen the path, what are you going to do with it? Will you go back to scrolling? Back to numbing? Back to waiting for the perfect time that never comes? Or will you finally do the one thing most people never dare to do? Take responsibility and act with purpose? You've just learned how to face your fears, recognize your S.